Hi there, this is H. Victoria Hargro Atkerson. I'm an author and a writer. I have written 5 books, and no, I have published 5 books. I have written about 18 books, and I've written through everything in my life for the last 15 years. So this is the time for me to get a lot of the books out this year. I should be having maybe 3 books coming out this year. Hopefully, let's make that it's a goal that I have for myself. So pray for me. I need your support, okay? Now, the 5 books I have in publication are Stones Along the Path, which is a very, very romantic book. It's like a wonderful fairy tale. It talks about 2 people who fall in love. One is an African and one is an African American, and they have a very tumultuous yet a very passionate relationship, which spreads out and affects everybody around them. So be sure to take a look at that. And then you're going to do part 2, which in part 2, we learn a lot about the desert and the bush people, who are the most environmentally perfect people on the earth because they use less of the world's resources than anyone. So the hooves on a cow, once they kill it, they use as glue and all kinds of other things when they melt it down somehow. But everything that they kill, they use everything. The skin of the animal, the meat of the animal, the hooves, everything. They are really enormously gifted in how to live on the earth and not pollute it, something that we can always learn from them. They are, like I said, the world's most perfect people as far as I'm concerned. The next book is Walking Among the Kudzu, which is a story about a black child. She is black. She's not a white child. She looks white, but she's black. And for that reason, she has difficulties in her own family who do not accept her. And it talks about the difficulties she has as she moves around and tries to mature and become a woman. So the book talks about the difficulties that she has as a child growing up, in her adolescent years, and it goes on to her adulthood. So it's a wonderful story about families and how families are formed. Sometimes they're not always blood related, and it's a story that is a very American story because we have many people who are in that situation. So take a look at that. And now, hold on to everything because we have this amazing book. This is Buttermilk Bottom. It is a story about a neighborhood that was not too far from where I lived. I had to pass by going to and from school every day, and it was a forbidden community because my darling mother forbid us from going there, and that's the whole family. No one, do not go there, do not go there. And I don't think one of her children obeyed her. We weren't the most angelic kids, but we played on those muddy streets, and we knew people who lived there because they went to our school. So our friends were there, so it was quite natural to gravitate there because it was like when you went there to play, there were tons of children around. It was like everybody galloped around having a great time. Do you want to jump rope? Do you want to play hide and seek? There were like loads of children around. So who would not go there? But you had to be sure not to be there on the weekends because like Friday night or Friday afternoon around 5 o'clock, you heard your first gunshot. After that, another gunshot, and it continued until the whole weekend was over with. And then things would quiet down and people would go to work and the week was okay. So Buttermilk Bottom is a real sizzler. It's full of sex, funny stuff, and almost unbelievable characters, but some of these are based on real people that I actually knew. Take a look at this book. It's a real sizzler. The sex is hot. The funny stuff is uproarious. And some of the characters are just genuine and very, very compassionate people. But the whole thing centers around this community that embraces each other as sisters and brothers, and they live and strive for equality and trying to figure out how to live under the segregated society that they are in. So take a look at Bottom Up Bottom. It's a real good piece of work. And my last one, which was only out a few months ago, this is new. This is Enslaved. And I ask myself many times, what would I do if somebody stole me from my homeland, my family, and brought me to a strange place I knew nothing about, never even knew existed, didn't know the language, had no idea what they were going to do with me? I mean, what would I do in those circumstances? So I tried to put myself on that slave ship. I tried to put myself in the bottom of that slave ship, where the rodents were, where the atrocities happening, where the rapes happened, where the filth and disgust was. I tried to put myself in that situation. And hopefully you will get a sense of what happens when that situation is thrown upon a person. I think that's important because as we live in our society today, where we're having difficulties again in unusual proportions about discrimination and brutality and racial profiling, you name it, all of this is going on today. So we need to talk about the original reason for all of this, and all of this was embedded in our slave history. So let's talk about it, guys. Let's get it out in the open and air it out. Air it out, okay? Now, we're going to follow up on the 4 things that I said it takes to be a writer. The first one was to identify with it. So one of the things I want to tell people who are thinking about embracing writing as a career, just get into a few details. We're going to take each one take one at a time. The first one was to identify yourself as a writer. That means tell your family, your friends, everyone that you know that you are a writer, that you're getting ready to write, that you want to write, that this is your desire, and your life is going to be changing, and they're going to witness something real special. They're going to see you evolve into this person that you say you want to be. So we believe, as Christians do, if you speak a word into the atmosphere, that it's going to manifest itself in the world. So speak that word. I'm a writer, I'm a writer, I'm a writer, and feel comfortable with that. But you also need to look like a writer, walk like a writer, and talk like a writer. I mean, do your homework. Research what this history is that you're embarking on, because it's very important that you accept the historical significance of being a writer. You remember there was a time and a place where everybody could not write. Only those chosen by the king or queen of some grand dynasty would assign that duty to you, and only maybe 2, 3 people in a whole community of thousands of people would write, and they call them scribes. So this is a community that you are going to be embracing, and hopefully you would study that. In this country, blacks were not allowed to write and to read. So it's very important that we do now. We're still limited because we can't get ourselves into like persons like me, it's very difficult to get into that arena because nobody wants to read your story. They're not ready for that. They send you notes saying, oh, we're not interested in that type of story right now. Or it may be a good story, but we're just not interested. So we have to do what we have to do. If I want to be a writer, I'm not leaving that up to someone else. I'm taking that on myself, and I'm going to drive that until I get the recognition I think I deserve as a writer, because I worked hard, and I think my stories stand up to many that I have read on the market, and I think I did a good job. So you have to feel that way about your writing, but you have to do that. You have to work hard at it. You want to learn as much as you can about it. You want to read the professionals, what they have done. There are tons of great writers out here, black, white, green, or purple. Read them all. Read some of the older stuff. Read whatever you can find and embrace that. If you're a poet, read Langston Hughes, read Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, get in there and do your work. And once you do that, you drench yourself into this profession, you'll get there. I guarantee you, you'll get there. It's like that miracle happens. You always say, what are you going to do for the rest of your life? Well, decide that you want to be a writer and then do it. Then wait, take a deep breath and say, I'm a writer, and then wait for your life to explode in all kinds of wonderful ways. It's really great talking to you guys again. It's really cool. And thank you for tuning in. But before you go, make sure that you like my channel, like this program, and subscribe to my station, okay? That lets me know that you want me to stay here and continue this relationship. Also, when you subscribe, it's a free subscription. You don't have to do anything other than push that red button and they'll let you know when I'm on and when I'm saying something or talking or just acting up. So, as always, love to you and love someone special. God bless. Have a good day.